The doctor drew a cross on Hawking's neck, then used a scalpel to cut open his trachea. After the surgery, a white tube was added to Hawking's neck. From then on, he lost the ability to speak. At that time, only 3 of his fingers and his eyes could move. From the age of 43 until he passed away at 76, all his lectures and Q&A sessions were conducted through a voice synthesizer. Even the A Brief History of Time that we are familiar with was completed during these 30-some years. Hawking was born in Oxford, England, and both of his parents were top students at Oxford University. During his time at Oxford University, Hawking's grades were not outstanding, and his final exams were a mess. Oxford gave him an interview opportunity. He directly told Oxford, "If you give me a second-class degree, I will stay at Oxford. If you give me a first-class degree, I will have the chance to go to Cambridge, and you can completely get rid of me." After that, he successfully entered Cambridge. At Cambridge, he was still very playful, either rowing or playing games, and sometimes he would go to dances. He met Jane at a dance. Although one was a humanities student and the other a science student, one believed in God and the other was an atheist, they fell in love at first sight and regretted not meeting sooner. The professor was about to check the homework from 2 days ago, but Hawking was still sound asleep in bed. After his roommate woke him up, he jumped out of bed, turned on the music, poured a cup of tea, and only then did he leisurely take out his homework. After the professor finished checking everyone's homework, Hawking hurriedly ran into the classroom. The professor asked him if he had done the homework. He took out a train timetable, and the homework was written on the back. He said he only solved 9 problems. This shocked his classmates. You have to know, others spent 2 days and couldn't solve even 1 problem. It was then that the professor realized he had encountered a genius. After class, the professor called him to the office, hoping he could decide on a research topic. But Hawking still didn't know what to do and had no ideas. Then, the professor took him to a laboratory where Thomson discovered the electron and Rutherford split the atomic nucleus. The professor hoped he would be inspired and invited him to attend a lecture by mathematician Roger Penrose next week. Looking at the various experimental instruments in front of him, Hawking fell into deep thought and invited Jane to his home for dinner. She invited him to be her date for the dance. At the dance, Hawking told Jane that the reason a guy's bow tie is brighter than a girl's dress is because the fluorescent substances in the detergent glow under ultraviolet light. Jane was very surprised by Hawking's vast knowledge. Hawking was also amazed by Jane's research on quasars. As they gazed at the brilliant night sky, they sealed their feelings with a kiss. Roger Penrose said that when a star reaches its end, it collapses inward, and as its density increases, it forms a black hole that warps spacetime. As the star's volume decreases, spacetime comes to a standstill there. Hawking was momentarily lost in thought. On the way back, Hawking began to wonder if he could apply Roger Penrose's theory to the entire universe. If Einstein's general theory of relativity is correct, the universe is constantly expanding. If time were to reverse, the universe would continuously shrink, returning to the starting point of spacetime. His relationship with Jane grew so strong that he didn't even notice his legs were no longer agile. Hawking told the professor that the universe originated from a black hole's explosion, but the professor told him he needed to prove it with mathematics. While Hawking could still write, he needed to use math to prove the universe originated from a black hole's explosion. After a period of relentless calculations, he finally confirmed his theory. Just as he was happily about to share this result with the world, after a series of examinations, the doctor told him it was amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as ALS. From the onset, he would gradually lose the ability to walk, talk, breathe, and swallow. Life expectancy was generally no more than 2 years. During this time, although the brain could think, no one would know what he was thinking. That year, Hawking was 21, in the prime of his youth. After this, Hawking became withdrawn. He hid in his room, unwilling to go out, and even refused to see Jane again. When his roommate told Jane about Hawking's condition, Jane found Hawking at home watching TV and invited him to play another game of croquet. By this time, Hawking was walking unsteadily and couldn't even hold the ball. At that moment, Jane made an important decision. She wanted to marry Hawking. Hawking told her she should leave. I still have work to do, and I have less than 2 years left. Hawking started using a cane to walk. One day, he excitedly told his professor that he had decided on his research topic. Not long after, Hawking and Jane got married. After their first child was born, going downstairs became a problem for Hawking. He needed a walker to move slowly. During this time, his research topic was approved, and he successfully earned his PhD from Cambridge. He needed to use an equation to prove that time has a beginning. That evening, everyone held a celebration dinner for him. By then, Hawking could no longer feed himself. After leaving the table, Jane bought him a wheelchair. When Hawking sat down heavily, it signified that one of his legs was already in the grave. To make life easier, he moved to a bed downstairs. After his second child was born, even dressing became a problem. Hawking explained his black hole radiation theory to an audience of white-haired elders, all top scholars in their fields. During his lecture, some thought he was talking nonsense and left, while others found his ideas insightful and enlightening. Later, his radiation theory was named Hawking radiation, and he became famous overnight. His wife prepared an electric wheelchair for him, which expanded his mobility. When visiting his parents for dinner, Hawking suddenly choked on food, and his condition worsened. However, he refused to see a doctor. Jane began to feel overwhelmed, having to care for 2 children and a husband who couldn't take care of himself. On the way home, she suggested hiring a nanny, but Hawking disagreed, not believing he had a problem. For the first time, Jane lost her temper. After returning home, Jane became very irritable. Her mother suggested she join the church choir to relieve some stress. At the church, Jane met the understanding Jonathan for the first time. Later, Jonathan visited the Hawking home when Hawking could still speak. He saw Jonathan teaching their son to play the piano, and a long-lost smile appeared on Jane's face. That evening, Hawking suggested that Jonathan could help out at home. His wife was very touched, finally feeling understood. Jonathan then became part of their lives, helping not only with the children but also with Hawking's daily care. Jian's smile became more frequent, and soon after, Jian was pregnant again and gave birth to their 3rd child. During a family gathering, Jian's mother asked who the father of the child was. This scene was witnessed by Jonathan, and Jian hurriedly chased after him. Jonathan felt it was time to leave, not just because everyone was talking about them behind their backs, but also because he had developed feelings for Jian, and she had feelings too. After saying this, Jonathan left, and Jian had to take on all the family responsibilities again. His smile disappeared, and he had to go to Bordeaux for a lecture. He suggested that Jonathan accompany Jian on a drive to give them some alone time. During the meeting, Hawking suddenly coughed up blood and was rushed to the hospital. When Jian arrived, Hawking was still unconscious, suffering from severe pneumonia and relying on a ventilator to survive. The doctor suggested removing the ventilator to let Hawking pass away without pain, as the chances of successful resuscitation were very low. Jian pleaded with the doctor to save him no matter what. The doctor said the only way to keep him breathing was to perform a tracheotomy, after which he would never be able to speak again. After the surgery, Hawking lost the ability to speak. He could only move his eyes and 3 fingers. He lost the ability to communicate with others until Lillian entered their lives. She taught Hawking to use a spelling board to express his thoughts. A friend brought him the latest technology that allowed him to use his fingers to control the words displayed on a screen. Through a voice synthesizer, he could speak again. Although it was a cold mechanical voice, he could express himself once more. Lillian began to integrate into their lives, and Hawking became more cheerful. Since he couldn't do anything else, he decided to take his thinking to the extreme. He planned to write a book about time called A Brief History of Time. Lillian took meticulous care of Hawking. At this point, Jian seemed like an outsider. Jian helped Hawking organize his manuscripts when she saw his writings about God. Jane was extremely excited. He finally believed in the existence of God. At this moment, Hawking told him that he had invited Elaine to accompany him to America, which meant their marriage was over. Hawking was very sorry, but he could only express it through a cold machine. How many years, Jane? Jane said, "It's been many, many years." After that, Hawking and Elaine moved to America and started a new life. Jane and Jonathan got together. After the publication of Hawking's A Brief History of Time, he became a world-renowned figure. At a Q&A session, seeing a pen drop from a woman in the front row, Hawking wished he could stand up, walk over, and pick it up for her. After living with Elaine for a year, Hawking returned to Jane's side. Although Jane and Jonathan were already married, she and Hawking remained good friends. The movie, The Theory of Everything, ends here. It was released in 2014, and it's said that Hawking personally attended a screening and gave high praise to the actors. They say behind every successful man, there's a great woman. This is indeed true. Alright, if you want to see more great movie reviews, please follow me. Bye bye. Yeah.